Hello and welcome to BadgerCam. In this week's video I'm going to be building the Airfix 1/72 scale North American P-51D. The P-51 is arguably America's most recognisable aircraft from World War II, though it actually owed a lot in its performance to the British Rolls-Royce Merlin engine. This model comes with the decals to build a P-51 in the Tuskegee Airmen's colour scheme. The Tuskegee Airmen were the first African-American pilots in World War II. Known as the Red Tails, it is often parroted that they never lost a bomber on the watch. This is not true. However, their air performance was still exceptional. Aircraft under their protection were shot down half as much as the average for other long-range fighter escorts. Anyway, enough about the plane. Let's get into the box. In the box, you get the parts to build the plane, which is a relief, a full-colour instruction manual, and the decals to build one version of the plane. Quick look at the spurs. They're showing some nice crisp detail and deep panel lines, which is what I like to see. A bit more flash on these than some of the other Airfix models have done of late, but nothing to lose sleep over. On to the build. First thing to do with this plane is the cockpit, as per. Only with this model, there's a lot of pre-painting that needs to be done straight away before any assembly can take place. First thing to paint is the instrument panel with some matte black. Then, while the parts are still in the sprue, I give the rest of the interior a couple of coats of Vallejo US dark green. It's not a spot on match, but it'll do. Decal on the dashboard, I can now press on with the build. Building the cockpit and painting a few final details like the seat. That done, it's a case of gluing all the interior pieces to one side of the fuselage before adding the propeller and gluing the two halves together. The propeller didn't seem to want to grip the nose of the plane very well, so I went back in with an Allen key to really squeeze this part on, as who wants a wobbly prop? Main fuselage together, it's onto the wings. The wings are a simple three-part construction. They go together well. Just need a bit of sanding to remove the seam lines. Seam lines addressed, they can go straight onto the plane. Then it's time to add the horizontal and vertical stabilizers. Before adding the flaps. Despite this being a simple and quick kit to make, I love the fact that Airfix have included the option for two versions of flaps. I'm going to be building mine with the flaps down. Flaps on, it's now time to add a few air intake caps before moving on to the undercarriage. The undercarriage on this plane is simple but really delicate. so I'm going to leave this to dry for a good while to avoid wonky wheel syndrome. Finally, it's time to add a few wheel bay doors, cockpit rim trim and rear wheel to conclude the building stage of this plane. For the bare metal paint on this model, I'm going to be using rattle can silver metallic paint, so I've masked off the cockpit ready for this stage. And this is it after the metallic silver's been added. Main shade down, it's time to paint the trims. For this I'm using Tamiya Gloss Red. Trims done and dried, I went on to paint the nose section in Vallejo US Army dark green. Ignore what you see in the video, I changed my mind and went over it with that later on. And picked out the wheel wells and exhaust areas in Army Painter gunmetal. For the panel lines of this, I used Army Painter matte black. After leaving the paint on the model for a little while to cure, I wiped off the excess and left the paint remaining in the grooves. Main painting done, it's time to add the decals. The decals on this plane are simple and straightforward to apply and very in-depth for the size of the model. I was quite surprised. The one bit though I hated doing here was lining up the yellow wing stripes around the undercarriage. This bit took the mick to do, but with some patience and a little overlapping, a good fit can be achieved. And this is the finished model. Simple to build and paint with a nice striking colour scheme. I really enjoy building and painting this model. It's my first P-51 build and my second bare metal model of all time. And after doing this, I'm already looking at getting one in the D-Day colour schemes. All in all, the kit goes together well, but extra care will be needed around the undercarriage, as the wheel supports on this are probably the most delicate that I've seen on a model so far. Anyway, that's my look at the Airfix 172nd P-51D. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're building one of these at home, it gave you a good idea of what to expect from the build. Anyway, until next time, look after yourselves and have a good one. Goodbye.